If it's Friday night, say yeah, for it's another edition of Strictly Sports NFL Friday. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports NFL Friday. So glad to have you with us. Michael Bullock here as well. Um, Not sure if MF will be with us or not. Um, if he's not, then it's obviously because of work commitments beyond his control. If he is, then we'll we'll simply catch him up on what he missed if he comes in. So yeah, week 13 of the NFL and last night, oh my goodness. I mean, what a what a shocking turn of events that we saw last night. The Dallas Cowboys defeating the New Orleans Saints 13-10, upsetting what was previously the hottest team in the NFL, a team that had won 10 in a row. And wow, I mean, chalk it up for the Dallas Cowboys. They've won 4 in a row now, and we got into it a bit on our season finale of College Football Thursday last night, so you can check that out right here on the Zone 25 if you have a moment. So yeah, what a way to start it off with a massive upset, to say the very least. So it won't affect this week's power rankings. As you know, the power rankings, you know, dates back to the previous week. They're retroactive to the previous week, and New Orleans will still be number one. Well, they'll be number one for one last week because next week we will have a new number one. We just don't know who that will be at this time. So, we'll definitely keep an eye out on that. So, with all that being said, let's dive on in to the remaining games. Bye weeks are done, so no bye weeks. So here we go. Started off with our first matchup of the week, an interesting one. We got the Baltimore Ravens squaring off against the Atlanta Falcons at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Will certainly be very busy, to say the very least. On the call for this one on CBS, how about this? Hello, friends. Jim Nance, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, they will be there. And the Falcons are favored by 1.5. And the series history favors the Baltimore Ravens 3-2. Their last meeting was 2014 in Baltimore, with the Ravens winning 29-7. They last met in Atlanta in 2010 at the old Georgia Dome. Atlanta won that one 26-21. The Ravens have only beaten the Falcons in Atlanta once, and that was their very first meeting back in 1999. Ravens won that 1913 in overtime. So there's the series history there. So with all that being said, let's dive on into our first matchup of the week. Lamar Jackson is making his first NFL road start, which hasn't been too much of a problem for the other rookie first-round quarterbacks. They've combined to go 3-1 in their first games away from home, throwing 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Jackson follows suit with the help of the NFL's top-ranked defense. The inconsistent Falcons lost 3 in a row, won 3 in a row, and now have lost the past 3. Maybe Sunday will mark the start of another 3-game winning streak, but it won't be easy against the Ravens defense that allows just 18 points a game and is the only team that yields fewer than 300 yards a game to its opponents. The Falcons also will have to figure out a way to contain Lamar Jackson. Atlanta is a slight favorite, 56.5%. The Ravens are the AFC team with the most on the line in terms of the playoff picture this week. Baltimore could see its playoff chances swing by 34 percentage points this week, according to the FBI. 61% with a win, 27% with a loss. But this is an easy one for me. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens to win this one. I'm going to say the final score will be 24-21 Baltimore over Atlanta and keeps the Falcons reeling. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in. I think Atlanta. I think their playoff chances are pretty much done. But you heard what I just said about the Ravens. If they win, 61% chance to make it with a win, 27% with a loss. So Atlanta's done, but Baltimore still has something to play for.
Yeah, and with Atlanta, I mean, it's hard to believe this Atlanta team struggling this season. And I mean, yeah, they made the playoffs last year, but I got to be quite honest with you, Florio. The Falcons, they haven't been the same since the
The epic collapse in Super Bowl 51.
The collapse in Super Bowl 51. I mean, do you think it all has to stem from that?
That's exactly right. I was just thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, because I mean, just think they were up 28-3, and they were on the verge of winning the Super Bowl, and then we all know what happened, and the Falcons haven't been the same since then. Yes, they made the playoffs, but they eventually, of course, lost to the Eagles in the divisional round, and pretty much haven't been the same since then. But I think it all stems back to the Super Bowl collapse. But yeah, I mean, I think Atlanta's playoff chances are done. Well, it'll be sealed officially with the loss here, because I do too have the Baltimore Ravens winning this one. I've just been very impressed with Lamar Jackson, with the way he's played since replacing Joe Flacco when he got hurt with that hip. The defense continues to play really well, so I expect that role to continue for the Baltimore Ravens, because I got them winning. My final score 28-24. So nothing more to say. Let's move right on to our next 1 o'clock matchup.
And we'll stay on CBS with definitely an interesting one here. A tale of two teams. One that's, that started off slow but has caught fire. The other started hot. They caught fire early, but they have gone down the tubes. So something definitely has to give here. The Denver Broncos squaring off against the Cincinnati Bengals at Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. This one's on CBS as well. We have Spiro Ditas and Adam Archuleta on the call. Denver opening up as 5 to 5.5 point favorites. Series history favors the Denver Broncos 21-10. However, last year Cincinnati won in Denver 20-17. The year before, in 2016, Denver won in Cincinnati 29-17. Bengals last beat the Broncos at home on a memorable Monday night game in 2014, with Cincinnati won that 37-28. So Bullock, I mean, Cincinnati, hate to say it, but they're back to being the Bungles again, whereas the Denver Broncos, look what they've done. They've beaten two of the best teams in the AFC, in the Chargers, in LA, and then last week they beat the Steelers. But what about the Bengals losing at home to the Browns? What?
They didn't just get beaten by the Cleveland Browns. They got embarrassed by them. I mean, how many times you see the Cleveland Browns embarrass a team? Not too often, but it happened. I mean, that just pretty much goes to show you what the Bengals, or as you just said, the Bungles, I mean, they're pretty much back to reality. I mean, and to make matters worse, of course, Andy Dalton is done for the season. He had to have surgery on his thumb after injuring it in the loss to Cleveland. And yeah, so Jeff Driscoll is going to take over as the starter for the rest of the season. And yeah, I mean, Denver, I mean, what can you say about Denver as of late? I mean, last two games they beat two playoff caliber teams. First being the Los Angeles Chargers, and then in thrilling fashion beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, all of a sudden they're a team you definitely got to keep an eye on to make a wild card spot. I mean, the defense definitely stepped up and slowed down that Pittsburgh Steelers offense and made some big plays at the end. And I thought the offense, especially led by Lindsey, who played a really good game. So I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos in this one. I'm going to say my final score is going to be 31-17. And the Broncos will continue to be on a roll, and the Bungles are going to continue to fall. So Denver wins. Florio, I give it to you.
Bullock, the Broncos have just one road win this year and are 0-3 in games played in the early time slot with an 11 a.m. kickoff Denver time. But they have slugged it out with the league's best this season. They have played the Chiefs twice, the Rams, the Texans, the Chargers, the Steelers, and the Seahawks. And after some significant struggles, they have kept it together just enough for a chance to claw their way back to 6-6 or 500 with a win in this one. If the Broncos get a big day from their defense, especially Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, they will do just that. It would be illogical to pick the Bengals here with the way their season has unfolded lately. Getting A.J. Green back will certainly give their offense a boost, but it's hard to know how much that will actually help now that quarterback Andy Dalton is done for the season. The Bengals certainly didn't look like a winning team when down 28-0 against the Cleveland Browns. And until they show some improvement on both sides of the ball, it's hard to imagine them winning their next few. Denver, a slight favorite here, 52.5%. According to FPI, the change from Dalton to Jeff Driscoll alters the favorite in this game. With Andy Dalton at quarterback, the Bengals would have been slight favorites at 52.3%. But nonetheless, I agree with you, Bullock. I got the Denver Broncos winning this one as well. I'll say the final will be 27-19, Denver over Cincinnati. So really nothing more to say here. Let's just move on to now. There will be a few Zonk games in our docket this week, and this is the first one right here. This is over on the NFC side of the ledger on Fox. We have the Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the Green Bay Packers from the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Yep. Shout out to the great Chris Berman. We got Chris Myers, Daryl Moose Johnston, Laura Oakman on the call. And Green Bay, huge favorites. I can't say I'm surprised. Matter of fact, believe it or not, they're not even the biggest favorite of the week. They're the second biggest favorite of the week. There's only one team that's actually favored more, believe it or not. But Green Bay, a 14 to 14.5 point favorite in this one. Can't say I'm surprised with that spread. Green Bay leads the all-time series with Arizona 44-23 with 4 ties. Their last meeting, of course, we all remember 2015 in the regular season in Arizona. Arizona absolutely destroyed Green Bay 38-8 in the regular season game. But then they would meet again a few months later in one of the greatest divisional playoff games in history, a 5-star classic, chock full of Shakespearean drama. Aaron Rodgers with that infamous Hail Mary to Jeff Janis that made Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth lose their minds. And I'll never forget it. Al Michaels, you will never forget it. That's insane. Yeah, you remember that. And that's the last time they met in 2015. Their last meeting in Green Bay was 2012. Green Bay won that one 31-17. The Arizona Cardinals, well, the Cardinals as a franchise have not won at the Packers since all the way back, get this, Bullock, in 1949. And they weren't even playing in Green Bay. They were playing in Milwaukee. That was a 39-17 win. The last time the Cardinals actually won at Green Bay, Lambeau, 2 years earlier, 1947. 14-10 was the final score in 47. And that was back when they were the St. Louis Cardinals. So a lot has changed since then. So, yeah. So a week after the Cardinals got shellacked by the Chargers, they have to face Aaron Rodgers in the cold at Lambeau Field. Arizona lost last week in a small, half-full stadium on a perfect Southern California day. So the conditions this week don't set up well for the Cards to put up much of a fight, especially after they released 2 starters and 2/5 of their starting offensive line from last week is hurt. The Packers have the 3rd easiest remaining schedule according to FPI, and this might be the easiest game. They're a 14-point favorite, even coming off of losses in 4 of their past 5. They're 4-0-1 at home and desperate to keep their playoff hopes alive. It's just too bad a blowout win doesn't count double. Green Bay, 92% favorite. This is the 3rd biggest favorite the Packers have been in a game in the FPI data set since 2008 and the biggest since 2012. So, needless to say here, I got the Green Bay Packers easy in this one. 42-17. Green Bay all over Arizona. No question about this. So nothing more to say here. I mean, Bullock, 2 touchdown favorites at home. Green Bay. Cardinals have not won as a franchise at Lambeau in 61 years, 1947. So, Bullock, as I bring you in, do you really expect the Cardinals to win at Lambeau for the first time since 1947? I certainly don't.
Yeah, I second that. I don't see that. I don't see the 2-9 Cardinals going in and going to Lambeau Field to beat the Green Bay Packers. It's Packers all the way. Nothing more to say. Let's move on.
Yes, indeed. And next up, we have another. I do apologize. I actually went a little bit out of order on my docket here. We should have talked about the Los Angeles Rams and the Detroit Lions. First of all, so yeah, I misread it. But Arizona Green Bay is done. We'll just do a little flip flop here. Los Angeles Rams against the Detroit Lions, Ford Field in Detroit on Fox. I do apologize for misreading that. Rams, huge favorites. They're 10 to 11 point favorites. We got Tom Brenneman, Chris Spielman, Shannon Spake on the call for Fox. I didn't see that Rams at Detroit before Arizona at Green Bay. I do apologize for that. Going off my announcer sheet, try to go in the proper order, but one of the rare times I go out of order. But this will be the only time, I promise you that. Detroit and the Rams. Rams lead the all-time series 43-40 with one tie. Their last meeting was in St. Louis when they were the St. Louis Rams. 21-14, Rams won it in St. Louis. Their last meeting in Detroit was 2012. Lions won that 27-23. The Rams have not won in Detroit since 2009. That was a 17-10 win. So with all that being said, Bullock, a slight dipsy-do botcheroo here. We should have talked about this game beforehand. This should have been the Arizona Green Bay spot, but we already know about what we already know about that Arizona Green Bay game. But the Rams and Detroit. Last time we saw the Rams, they didn't do much. Beating the Chiefs 54-51, whereas the Lions came up just a bit short against Chicago on Thanksgiving. So your thoughts on this one? Bullock, are you there?
Oh, I'm right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Rams in Detroit.
Yeah. I think this is another easy one here. I got the Rams winning this one. I just don't see how Detroit's going to be able to slow down this Rams offense. That's running on all cylinders. It's the LA Rams all the way on this one, and it's not even going to be close. Flory, what's yours?
No, not at all. The Rams are well rested and healthy, coming off a bye week, and they are anticipating the return of cornerback Aqib Talib, who has been on injured reserve since week 4. None of that is good news for Matthew Stafford and the Lions. The Rams are averaging 35.4 points a game, and Jared Goff will have the same host of playmakers available from their most recent game when they dropped 54 points on the Kansas City Chiefs. Stafford and the Lions, averaging 21.6 points per game, are unlikely to keep pace. The Lions have scored more than 30 points twice this season, and that was before the offense was decimated by injuries. Marvin Jones Jr., TJ Lang, Kerryon Johnson, and trades, Golden Tate. Detroit hasn't scored 35 points, what the Rams are averaging once this season. Plus, the Rams defense has a devastating line, so it's going to be a long, long day for Stafford and the Lions. Rams, 75.2% favorites. The Rams have the number 1 ranked offense in terms of efficiency, according to FPI, both overall and on the road. They are heavy favorites in Detroit against the Lions team that ranks second worst in defensive efficiency this season. I'm going to go with the same score I had for Green Bay over Arizona, 42-17. Rams all day over the Detroit Lions. So really nothing more to say here. So now I just want to make sure I have the next correct game here. Okay, now we do. Back to the AFC side of the ledger. We got the Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Houston Texans at NRG Stadium in Houston. Over on CBS, we got Greg Gumbel, Bruce Arians, Trent Green, Melanie Collins on the call for this one. And the Texans opening up as 6 to 7 point favorites. Not surprising considering that they're now officially the hottest team in the league right now. Now that they've won 8 in a row after that 0-3 start. Houston also leads the all-time series 6-3. And hey, Houston's won the last 4 meetings in a row, including last year, a 33-17 win in Houston. Browns have only won in Houston once. That was back in 2004. That was a 22-14 win. That was their second meeting all time. So here you go. Let's see, Browns, Texans. Okay, let's see. All right. If the Browns want to steal one in Houston, these circumstances are positive. Houston has won 8 in a row, and they might be due for a down game, especially coming off a short week. But the Texans defense brings a lot of pressure, and that's a different challenge for Baker Mayfield. In the end, it'll prove too tough to overcome. Head coach Bill O'Brien has talked about the importance of being able to run the ball well down the stretch. The Texans rushed for a franchise record 281 yards on Monday night against the Titans. They hope to continue that success against the weak Cleveland run defense, which is allowing 131.8 rushing yards a game. Houston will get another strong performance from running back Lamar Miller and will win their 9th in a row. They are the Texans just north of 80% favorites at 79.8%. They're a heavy favorite in this game, though FPI may be underrating the Browns' offense as it still takes into account the first 8 weeks of the season when Cleveland's offensive efficiency was a 30 on a 0 to 100 scale. Since they changed coaches, it's 91, second only to the New Orleans Saints in the NFL in that span. Most impressive. I think they might keep it closer than you think, but at the end, I got to go with the Houston Texans. 27-20, Houston over Cleveland. Make it 9 in a row for the Houston Texans after that 0-3 start. Who saw that coming? So Bullock, Houston Texans, they've won 8 in a row. Do I hear 9?
Yes, you are going to hear 9 in a row. I mean, they are now officially the hottest team in the NFL right now. I mean, what can you say about Houston? I mean, after an 0-3 start, many people thought this wasn't going to be a playoff team. Well, they are now looking like a playoff team. I mean, defensively, they are just playing very, very well. I mean, and the offense, of course, led by Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's really continued to improve, of course, coming off of that torn ACL. And yeah, and I think it's just going to be too tall in order for Cleveland here. So I'm going to go 27 to, yeah, I'm going to go with the exact same score, 27-20. Houston beats the Cleveland Browns. So nothing more to say. Let's move right along to our next game. Flory, are you there?
Forgot to unmute my mic. I do apologize for that.
All right.
So we have an AFC South divisional matchup here. The Indianapolis Colts squaring off against the Jacksonville Jaguars at Everbank Field, TIAA Cref, or whatever that stadium is in Jacksonville. Tom McCarthy, Steve Berline on the call. And spread favors the Indianapolis Colts 4.5 to 5. This will be the second time in a few weeks that they're meeting. They met back on November 11th in Indianapolis, and the Colts won that one 29-26. So you can now add to the Colts all-time series lead. It's now 23-12 if you count that win. snapping a 2-game losing streak to the Jags because the Jags swept both meetings last year, including in Jacksonville, 30-10. The Jags have actually won the last 3 in a row at home, including a game in London in which they were technically the home team, 2016, 2015. Yeah, so Indianapolis has not won in Jacksonville since 2014. That was a 44-17 beatdown here. So, all right, Bullock, here you go. I mean, here's another case of a tale of two cities, if you will, between these two teams. Colts started slow, but look at Indy now. They've gone red hot, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, without a doubt, the most disappointing team in the NFL this year. Damn shame, because I picked them to go far.
Yeah, and here's another thing that another team that was affected by the Patriots, because remember, Jacksonville in last year's AFC Championship game were playing pretty good, and then of course the Patriots came back and beat them, and Jacksonville hasn't been the same since. Of course, they got off to such a hot start, but what is going on with them? I mean Blake Bortles. I mean he's back to being irrelevant. And the Colts. I mean, what can you say about them? They've been playing some really good football as of late, and they're going to be going for 6 wins in a row, or and they'll be looking to keep within distance of the Houston Texans and Andrew Luck. I mean, he looks healthy now. I mean, after missing all of last season from that shoulder injury, he's been playing very well as of late, and getting back to Jacksonville, um, Cody Kessler is going to be the starting quarterback. So yeah, I mean, how's that how's that gonna go? And of course, the Jaguars, they're going to also be without about Leonard Fournette, who has been suspended for the fight against the Buffalo Bills last week, and yeah, so I do expect the I mean not the the Colts to continue their role, and the Jags' disappointing season is going to continue. I'm going to say I'm going to go 31. I'm actually going to go 34 to 17 is going to be my final score. So the Colts will win this one. Florio, it is yours. I mean, I think we can all agree the Jacksonville Jaguars have been the biggest disappointment of this NFL season.
It's a damn shame too, Bullock, because I mean I was so high on them coming into this season. I mean,
And not just you. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of experts who thought maybe this team was gonna unseat the Patriots and go to the Super Bowl. I mean, especially after what they did to the Patriots in Week 2.
yeah, they were looking really good. I mean, they started the year 2-0, and they squeaked by the Giants on opening day, and then that beat down of the Patriots, and since then, yeah. Remember when they started 2-0? Yeah, I don't. Um,
I don't think anybody remembers.
they started 2-0. What have they done since then? 1-8. They've gone 1-8 since that 2-0 start. I mean, Jesus. I mean, in the Indianapolis Colts, look at the Indianapolis Colts. They started 1-5. Remember when they were 1-5? I don't. They've now won 5 in a row. Do I hear 6? Yeah, you do. And here's why. The Colts enter on a 5-game winning streak, and Andrew Luck has thrown for at least 3 touchdowns in 8 straight games and has been sacked only once in the past 6 games. Everything has basically gone right for the Colts since their last loss on October 14th in the Meadowlands against the Jets. Now Indianapolis is facing a reeling Jacksonville team that benched its starting quarterback, fired its offensive coordinator, and won't have its starting running back due to suspension. The Colts will have their first 6-game winning streak since 2009 by the end of this game. The Jaguars have a new quarterback, Cody Kessler, as Bullock mentioned, a new offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Scott Milanovich, and three backup offensive linemen starting because of injuries. And they also don't have their best offensive player in Leonard Fournette. That's not exactly ideal in trying to stop a 7-game losing streak. And the Jaguars have beaten Luck just once since 2012. He also has thrown for at least 250 yards in 7 of his 9 games against the Jags. So it's an open and shut case in this one. Hold on. Indianapolis, 57.2% favorite. Luck posted a 92.1 total QBR in the past 5 games, second highest in the league in that span, only to Drew Brees. The Jaguars enter on a 7-game losing streak, and Blake Bortles posted a 39 total QBR in those games, 29th out of 32 qualified quarterbacks. 31-10, Indianapolis all over Jacksonville. Continue the Jags' downward spiral. So that's a damn shame too, man. I was so high on that team. It is what it is. So moving on now to another divisional matchup. This one out of the AFC East. I only wish MF was here because, we could have really had some fun with this. My Buffalo Bills against MF's Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Andrew Catalan and James Lofton on the call. The Miami Dolphins opening up as 3.5-point favorites. First meeting this season. The Dolphins lead the all-time series 59-44 with a tie. Last year, the Buffalo Bills won both meetings. They swept the season series against the Dolphins, including 22-16 in Miami, Week 17, New Year's Eve last year. I'll never forget it. Dolphins last beat the Bills at home the year before, 2016. That was a 28-25 win. So there's the history on that. So let's get into this Buddy Bowl, even though MF's not here. I mean, I wish he would have been because we could have had a lot of fun with it. But here we go. All right, let me see. Whoop. Okay. No matter the coach, Doug Marrone, Rex Ryan, or Sean McDermott, the Bills have generally had the Dolphins' number since 2013. Buffalo has won 7 of its past 10 games against its division rival, outscored the Dolphins by more than a touchdown per game, and has turned over the ball only twice compared to 18 takeaways. That trend does not look to change this season against the 28th ranked Dolphins offense. The Bills are 3-1 this season against offenses that, like their own, rank in the bottom half of the league. Miami faces a must-win to keep its slim playoff hopes alive, and even with a banged-up roster, it should be able to take advantage of rookie quarterback Josh Allen. Miami's biggest strength this season has been its ball hawk defense, which is second in interceptions and third in takeaways. Expect a low-scoring game in which the Dolphins' defense could make the difference. Miami, 57.5% favorite. Dolphins have been good on the defensive line this season, ranking 4th in ESPN's pass rush win rate. Measures how often a pass rusher is able to beat his block within 2.5 seconds. On the offensive line, it's a different story, as they rank 31st in pass block win rate, according to tracking data from NFL Next Gen Stats. This is very tough. I mean, my gut is telling me to go with Miami in this one. If Miami wins, I would say that final score would be 20-16. But with the way Buffalo's actually been playing, they've actually won 2 in a row, much to my delight. They beat Jacksonville, and then of course that beat down in the Meadowlands against the Jets. Ugh, so tough. Gut's telling me Miami, heart's telling me Buffalo. If Buffalo were to win, I would have Buffalo winning 21-14. But I just have this feeling, especially with the game being in Miami and with how tough the Dolphins usually are in Miami, I'm going to have to reluctantly go against my team here. I mean, I would love to see them win. Absolutely, I would love to see them win and stick it to MF and Eric Carrier. But with this game being in Miami, I have to slightly go with the Dolphins here. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins in this one. 20-16. That's my final. So I would not be surprised if Buffalo were to steal one there. But with this one in Miami, I can't. I have to go. I just got to go with Miami on this. So Nothing more to say, Bullock. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins. It's me and Jason Hicksonbaugh and the Bills Mafia going up against MF and Eric Carrier and the Dolphin Nation. Who comes out on top in this first of two divisional meetings?
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo, I mean, what can you say? I mean, they've won 2 in a row while the Dolphins, I mean, what is going on with them? I mean, they started off 3-0, and since then they've lost 6 of 8 games. I mean, and blowing a lead last week against the Indianapolis Colts, and now the Dolphins' playoff chances are in serious jeopardy. Uh, yeah, but yeah, this game is in Miami, and I too have to go with the Miami Dolphins to win this one. I'm gonna say 24-21. I mean, I do expect the defense to make just enough big plays to stop the Bills. So yeah, there's nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next 1 o'clock match.
And this is another one of the Zonk games of the week, if you will. We have the Chicago Bears squaring off against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey, over on Fox. We have Kevin Burkhardt, Charles Davis, and Pam Oliver on the call. The Bears opening up as 3.5-point favorites. Series history favors the Chicago Bears 28-20 with 2 ties. Their last meeting was 2 years ago in New York. The Giants won that one 22-16. The Bears have not won in New York since 2006. That was a 38-20 win. Oh, by the way, the Bears went to the Super Bowl that year, only to lose to Indianapolis. So Michael Bullock, started off with you here. The Chicago Bears, man. I mean, what can you say about them? I mean, even without Mitchell Trubisky, they still found a way to win in Detroit on Thanksgiving. Didn't I tell you they were going to win on Thanksgiving? You had doubts, but what happened? How'd that work out for you?
Well, it worked out well for the Bears, and Chase Daniel, I thought, played a really good game in replacing Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, going for 230 yards with 2 touchdowns and didn't even throw a single interception. And the Bears, I mean, they haven't lost since losing to the Patriots at their home. So yeah, I expect the offense to continue to play well. I think. I mean, depends on if Mitchell Trubisky plays, but it looks like. I mean, they could be without him, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, who knows? He could be a game time decision, but I'll tell you what, the defense is really going to make things tough for Eli Manning. I mean, that defense has been playing so well as of late, and I expect it to continue. I got the Chicago Bears winning this one. I'm gonna go 28-13. It's gonna be my final score. Nothing to say. Florio, it's yours.
The Bears will win on Sunday because of their defense. Chicago may be without starting quarterback Mitchell Trubisky for another week, but the Bears lead the league with 104 points off 29 takeaways, best in the NFL. Even if Chase Daniel struggles, the Bears will still find a way to score enough points to beat a Giants team already looking ahead to next year. This isn't the Bucs, 49ers, or an injury-ravaged Eagles defense the Giants are facing this week. It's the Bears, who have the second-ranked scoring defense. The Giants have faced 4 top 10 scoring defenses already this season and averaged 14.5 points in those contests. The Bears and Khalil Mack are going to be a problem. Chicago, a 53.8% favorite. The Bears have the best defensive efficiency in the NFL, 77.5 on a 0 to 100 scale. That goes up to 90.3 during their current 5-game win streak. The second highest defensive efficiency in any 5-game span this season. The Minnesota Vikings, 91.1 in weeks 5 to 9. So I agree with you, Bullock. I have the Chicago Bears winning this one as well. My final score, I'm going to go 24-13 in favor of the Chicago Bears. So nothing more to say here. Let's move on to our final 1 o'clock matchup, and it's another divisional matchup. This one out of the NFC South. We got the Carolina Panthers squaring off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. This one will be over on Fox, and on the call for that one will be Kenny Albert, Rondé Barber, and Sarah Walsh. Carolina opening up as a 3 to 3.5 point favorite. They met a month ago. They met back on November the 4th in Charlotte, and the Panthers won that one 42 to 28. So you can now add to the Carolina Panthers all-time series lead in this rivalry, which is now 23 to 13, counting that regular season win from last month. Make it 3 in a row for the Panthers in this series, including in Tampa Bay last year, 17 to 3. Carolina won in Tampa last year, and the Bucs defeated Carolina 17-16 in 2016 at home. So, all right. So, all the schematics out of the way. Let's now get into our thoughts on this one. There it is. Okay. If Carolina is going to get over a 3-game losing streak, the Bucs are the team to do it against. The Panthers already have beaten Tampa Bay 42 to 28 this season, and they have a history of forcing quarterback Jameis Winston into mistakes. They held the league's number one passing offense to a season-low 243 yards in the first meeting with cornerback James Bradberry shutting down Mike Evans. Carolina has won 9 of the past 11 against the Bucs, and it will be 10 of 12 on Sunday. The Panthers may be on a 3-game slide, but this team dominated the Bucs in every facet in Week 9. The Bucs gave up 13 explosive plays, which are pass plays of more than 16 yards and run plays of 12 or more yards, second most in the league. They were completely lost and out of position trying to contend with Norv Turner's use of pre-snap motion. Christian McCaffrey had 157 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns. The Bucs will get a boost if they get Levante David back, and if they can go turnover free like last week. Carolina, well, actually, no. Tampa, this is the closest percentage here. Tampa Bay, 49.9% favorite. The Buccaneers are the slightest of favorites, and I mean that literally. Tampa Bay has a 49.9% chance to win compared with 49.7% for Carolina. 0.4% chance of a tie. Only one game in the data set has been a closer projection, and that was also that big game with the Rams and the Saints back in Week 9. So, but nonetheless, I've got the Carolina Panthers winning this one. I'm going to go 33 to 24, Carolina over Tampa Bay, snap their 3-game losing streak. So nothing more to say. So Bullock, big one here for Carolina. I mean, they've lost 3 in a row, and they need this one if they want to have any chance to stay in the race.
Yeah, I mean, what is going on with the Carolina Panthers? I mean, they've lost 3 in a row, and yeah, I mean, now they're just fighting to remain in the playoff chase, and I mean, especially after losing 30 to 27 to Seattle last week. So, but in that loss, Christian McCaffrey put up some really good numbers, over 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving. I mean, Tampa Bay, I mean, they got a win over the 49ers. Jameis Winston, I mean, played well, but I expect that to change against the Carolina Panthers. I got the Panthers winning it. My final score is going to be, I'm going to go 31 to 20 is going to be my final score. Carolina will end that 3-game losing streak. So, yeah, that does it for the 1 o'clock matchups. Now let's move on to the late games.
We have 4 in total, 2 on each network. And we have, we're going to start with the 2 CBS games that will be on at 4:05. The first one, another divisional matchup, this one out of the AFC West. The Kansas City Chiefs squaring off against the Oakland Raiders. A zonk game, essentially, if you think about it. from the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum in Oakland, California. Iron Eagle, Dan Fouts, Evan Washburn on the call. Remember when I said there was one team that was favored more than Green Bay this week? Well, the Kansas City Chiefs are the biggest favorite of the week because they're opening up as 15.5-point favorites in this one. No big surprise there. First of two meetings this year. Kansas City leads the all-time series 61-52 with 2 ties. They split last year, both teams winning at home. So that meant Oakland actually won at home against Kansas City. We all remember it. The last time they met in Oakland, the greatest Thursday night football game in the history of Thursday night football. Week 7 of last year, Jim Nantz lost his mind, which was awesome. So did Tony Romo. Raiders won that one 31-30. We'll never forget it. One of the, like I said, the greatest Thursday night game in history. Chiefs won in Oakland the year before, 2016, 26-10. So with all that being said, Bullock, a couple things here. Number one, Kansas City and Oakland meeting in Oakland for the first time since that epic Thursday night game last year. But on a very disturbing note, I'm sure you heard the news. Kareem Hunt cut by the Kansas City Chiefs due to a very disturbing Noggin Diva moment.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it. Everybody, in case you haven't heard, Kareem Hunt was released after video emerged by TMZ of him striking a woman not once but twice back in February at a hotel in Cleveland, and that looked pretty bad there. And you would think the NFL would learn from this whole thing, but it's pretty much the same crap over and over and over again. And it's reminding me of the whole Ray Rice saga. I mean, it's like we're living it all over again, but at least the Chiefs reacted to it immediately and they cut that bastard. So, yeah, way to go, Kareem Hunt. I mean, you had such a heck of a career going, and now not only it looks like your 2018 season's done, but your 2019 season is in question, and your future. And don't be surprised, Florio, that this is the last we see of Kareem Hunt. I mean, and it's a damn shame because he had such a heck of a career going for himself, and he had to go and throw it away by doing such a Noggin Diva thing that really pisses me off. And you remember the saying, Florio, that we have here on our shows. And what's our saying?
Any man who strikes a woman, you're not a man. You're a coward, you're a mouse, and you're an animal.
And you're a freaking monster. So,
and a vicious, bloodthirsty, cutthroat savage on top of that.
Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, Kareem Hunt, you can rot in hell. Straight in hell for what you did. Kansas City is going to win, but big time. But all I can say is, I mean, this is really going to, it's going to hurt them offensively. I mean, yeah, they still got some weapons there, but this is just a blow to them. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. I'm not going to waste too much time on that. Bullock pretty much covered everything there. So, yeah, very disturbing news indeed. I mean, Kareem Hunt, man, what can you say? I mean, stellar career, hell of a career for him. We'll never forget that big night he had in Foxborough opening night last year. And he's had some solid games here and there, but stellar career going for himself. But now it's been cut short. Right down the drain, kid. I hope you love it. So that's all I can say there. So back to business here.
Yeah, I hope you're proud of what you did, you moron.
It's going to take a high-scoring opponent to beat the Chiefs. Their 2 losses came against teams that scored 43 and 54 points. We all know that was the Patriots and the Rams. the two best games of the year, by the way. The Raiders, who are 30th in points, don't have the firepower to keep up with Kansas City. Sooner or later, this game will get out of their reach. As bad as the Raiders' defense has been this season, the Chiefs have been worse. The Raiders have won 3 of the past 6 meetings against Kansas City in the East Bay, so maybe Derek Carr is in the mood for a high-scoring affair. The Raiders could keep it interesting for 3 quarters, but remember, Oakland has been outscored by an NFL worst 72 points in the fourth quarter. Expect much of the same. Kansas City, 83.7% favorite. The Chiefs rank second in offensive efficiency this season, while the Raiders rank third worst in defensive efficiency. That makes the Chiefs the second biggest road favorite in any game this season, according to FPI. That is until the Rams face the Arizona Cardinals in 3 weeks, in Week 16. So I got the Chiefs winning easily. I'm going to go 38-17, Kansas City all over Oakland. So nothing more to say. Let's move back to some positive vibes here, because that's what this show is supposed to be. We'll save the negative stuff for when the regulation Strictly Sports shows come back, which I'm dreading, but it is what it is. So the other CBS game at 4:05 will feature the New York Jets squaring off against the Tennessee Titans at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. We have Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, and Steve Tasker on the call. Tennessee opening up as 8 to 9.5 point favorites. Series history favors the Tennessee Titans 23-19 with a tie. Their last meeting was 2015 in New York. Jets won that one going away 30-8. Last meeting in Tennessee was 2014. Jets won that one barely 16-11. Tennessee has not beaten the Jets at home since 2013. That was a 38-13 beatdown. So nothing is going right for the Jets. Losers of 5 straight. So it's hard to imagine they will suddenly find answers on the road. They've lost 9 of their past 10 outside of East Rutherford dating to last season. They lack confidence on both sides of the ball and will have problems protecting their quarterback, whether it's Josh McCown or Sam Darnold. The Titans defense has to get back on track after allowing back-to-back 30-plus point performances, but New York is lacking any serious weapons on offense other than deep threat Robbie Anderson and is scoring only 20 points a game. On the other side of the ball, Jonnu Smith has emerged as a threat on offense to go along with Corey Davis and Dion Lewis in the passing game, but look for the rushing attack featuring Lewis and Derrick Henry to gash the New York defense, allowing 128.2 yards a game on the ground. Tennessee, a 78.9% favorite. After beating the Patriots 34-10 in Week 10, the Titans had the number 1 defense in points allowed and ranked 7th in opponent total QBR, 52.4. Since then, they have allowed 72 points in 2 games, but I think that changes here. I got the Tennessee Titans winning this one. I'm going to say final score will be, I'll go 23-13, Tennessee over the Jets. Nothing more to say. So Bullock, chance for Tennessee to get back on track here. After that, that impressive beatdown of your Patriots a few weeks ago. So now they got an easy Jet team coming in, losers of 5 in a row.
Yeah, I expect the excuse me. Yeah, I do expect Tennessee to bounce back here. I mean, and ground the Jets. I mean, especially with their situation at quarterback, especially after now. I mean, we don't know who's going to start. It's either going to be Josh McCown or Sam Darnold, because we don't know. And yeah, and yeah, so Tennessee, I mean, I think they should have no problem with the Jets here. I agree with you. My final score is going to be, I'm going to go 38-17 is going to be my final score. So there's really nothing more needs to be said. Let's move on to the first of our 425 matchups.
And Bullock, to me, I consider this the number 2 game of the week right here. It's the number 2 game of the week overall, but it's America's game of the week on Fox. What a matchup this is going to be. This was almost the Super Bowl last year. I was hoping this would have been the Super Bowl last year, especially with it being in Minnesota, but Philadelphia had other things to say about that. But nonetheless, here we go. The Minnesota Vikings squaring off against the New England Patriots, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. And if it's America's Game of the Week on Fox, you know who's doing it. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews. They'll be in Gillette for this one. The Patriots opening up as 5 to 5.5 point favorites. Series history favors the New England Patriots 8-4. The Patriots have won the last 4 meetings in a row against the Vikings, including 2014. That was week 2 in Minnesota, 30-7, all New England in that one. Their last meeting in Foxborough was 2010. Patriots won that one 28-18. Last time the Vikings beat the Patriots overall and in Foxborough was in the year 2000. I believe that was on opening day. Minnesota won that game 21-13 in New England in 2000. So, all right, Bullock, it's only fitting we started with you here because it is your team after all. Patriots got back to business, you know. They needed that bye week, and then last week, you know, the Jets played them close, but ultimately New England pulled away. They won 27-13. The Vikings, they hung on for a win over the Packers on Sunday night. So here you go, Bullock. Vikings, Patriots, number 2 game of the week overall. This should be a good one in Foxborough. Can't wait to see it.
Oh, this definitely should be a good one, and I expect to see a lot of offense in this game. I mean, and that Patriots defense definitely has they're gonna be really tested, especially in the secondary, because they gotta deal with Stephon Diggs and the NFL's leading receiver, Adam Thielen. I mean, that's gonna be a tall task here. And the Minnesota defense, I mean, the defense not quite the same as it was last year, so this could be an opportunity for Tom Brady and all the offense led by, of course, James White, Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman, and Josh Gordon, and the running game of Sony Michel, which continues to really impress me. I expect them to attack that defense there, and yeah, I think, like I said, this is not going to be a defensive game here. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I mean, and I'll tell you this, Flora, if this game was in Minnesota, I actually would go with the Minnesota Vikings, but this game is in Foxborough, so I'm gonna go with the New England Patriots. My final score 34-31, Patriots over the Vikings, and but I would not be surprised if Minnesota goes in and steals one from the Patriots in Foxborough. So nothing more to say, Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. Before I go into my thought, I wanna give a special shout out to one of my buddies from church, from my church. His name is David Breyer. These are his 2 favorite teams. He loves the Minnesota Vikings, and he also loves the New England Patriots. We've had many of chats about it, you know, whenever we've seen each other, you know, at church, and he told me that he wanted to get tickets to this game. He wanted to see this game. I don't know if he was able to secure those tickets. I'm praying for him that he did. I mean, if he gets to go to this game, I mean, good for him, because I know how much he loves both the Vikings and the Patriots. So whether he got the tickets or not, I mean, I'm sure he's going to enjoy this game, whether he's watching it from the comfort of his home or if he's actually going to be at Gillette for this one. So I'll know on Sunday if I see him at church or not. So we'll see. But anywho, shout out to David Breyer, very good friend of mine from my church. So, all right. Now getting back to this, Mike Zimmer has a defense that can make Tom Brady uncomfortable. Brady hasn't been great against the blitz this season, so Zimmer could choose to tap into some of those looks. Kirk Cousins was excellent with play action last Sunday night, and keying into that element of his game and continuing to find ways to mix in Kyle Rudolph and Dalvin Cook will be critical, especially if the Patriots aim to take away Adam Thielen. But the numbers don't lie. Brady plays his best in December with a league best 58 wins over his career. The Vikings are one of 5 teams that Brady has an undefeated regular season record against, 4-0. And the return of Rex Burkhead highlights how the Patriots offense is getting healthy at the right time. When the Patriots have had Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon, and Rob Gronkowski on the field together, they are 4-0 and average 33.3 points a game. When one of those players is not on the field, the Patriots are only 4-3 and average just north of 25 points at 24.9. New England, a 67.6% favorite. This game has the potential to impact each team's postseason in different areas. The Patriots have a 72% chance to get a first-round bye with a win and a 39% chance with a loss, according to FBI. The Vikings would have an 88% chance to make the playoffs with a win and a 62% chance with a loss. But nonetheless, you're absolutely right, Bullock. I got the New England Patriots winning this one as well. Gillette Stadium, I'm going to be quite honest with you. I'm going to be very honest with you. And Bullock, I know you're going to be very happy when I say this. I consider Gillette Stadium the toughest place to win a game as a visiting team in the entire NFL. How you like that? Because we all know the Patriots' track record ever since Gillette Stadium opened back in 2002. They started slow, but over the last decade or so, I don't think any team has had more home field success than the Patriots have had, especially at Gillette. So I agree with you, Bullock. I got the New England Patriots winning this game. All three of their losses on the road. So obviously they're undefeated there this year, and I expect that to continue here, but not without a fight from Minnesota. I got New England winning as well. I got it a little lower scoring than Bullock has it. I'm going to go 30-26, New England over Minnesota. That's going to be a beauty. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a fun game. So, unfortunately, we go from a fun game to a zonk game here. And this is definitely, I think this could be the zonk game of the week right here. Well, one of the zonk games right here. San Francisco 49ers, Seattle Seahawks, up at CenturyLink Field in Seattle. This one will be on Fox as well. 4:25 kickoff. The legendary Dick Stockton, along with Mark Schlereth and Jennifer Hale, will be on the call. First of two divisional meetings between these two this year. Seattle's opening up as a 10 to 10.5 point favorite. I'm not surprised by that at all. Series history, I do believe it favors Seattle. I just want to, be 100% sure. Seattle leads the all-time series 23-15. And Seattle has absolutely owned this rivalry. Ever since that epic NFC championship game they had in January of 2014, which featured that infamous Richard Sherman meltdown on Aaron Andrews. We'll never forget that. 6, 8, including that epic title game, Seattle has won 9 in a row against San Francisco. The 49ers have not beaten the Seahawks since 2013 in San Francisco and have not won in Seattle since 2011. That's the last time the 49ers stole one in Seattle, back in 2011. I believe that was the year they went to the Super Bowl. So, the Niners' futility against the Seahawks dates to 2013 and goes back even further in games played in Seattle. It's hard to envision that tide turning here as the Seahawks surge and the 49ers are in the mix for the number 1 overall draft pick, with former practice squatter Nick Mullins at quarterback. Russell Wilson is 11-2 against the Niners in his career and should get it to an even dozen here. The Seahawks haven't lost to the 49ers since 2013, and it hasn't happened in Seattle since Jim Harbaugh's team completed a season sweep on Christmas Eve in 2011. Seattle wins another while fighting for a playoff spot. Seattle an 81.4% favorite. Seattle is the third biggest favorite this week, according to FPI. 81% chance to win, so a win wouldn't increase its playoff chances all that much. Currently 79%, would be 84% with a win. A shocking loss, however, would drop its chances all the way down to 54%. But nonetheless, another lock of the week. I got Seattle all day in this one. I'm going to go 27-13, Seattle, all over San Francisco. So nothing more to say here. Bullock, including that epic NFC title game from years ago. Seattle's won 9 in a row against the Niners. Do I hear 10?
Oh yes, it's definitely going to be 10 for the Seattle Seahawks, because I think they're going to have no problem with the San Francisco 49ers. So yeah, so there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So let's move on to Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football. Oh, by the way, it's the game of the week as far as I'm concerned on either side of the ledger. You think that Viking Patriot game is going to be fun? Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet when it comes to this one. This is going to be a beauty right here. I can't wait for this one. Sunday Night Football on NBC. The Los Angeles Chargers squaring off against the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya as always. Steelers opening up as 3 to 3.5 point favorites. Pittsburgh absolutely owns the Chargers in this all-time series history, 22-7. Yes, 22-7. Unreal. Their last meeting was 2015. I believe that was on a Monday night in San Diego. Steelers won that one at the last second, 24-20. Their last meeting in Pittsburgh was 2012, and the Chargers won that one 34-24. Steelers last beat the Chargers at home in 2009. That was a 38-28 win. So nothing more to say here. So Bullock, huge playoff implications for both teams. Two of the best teams in the AFC. Not only fighting, well, I think they'll both make it, but seeding will definitely be impacted here. I mean, whoever wins here will take a big step forward, while the other, will take a little bit of a small hit. But Chargers, Steelers, game of the week. I wish MF was here because this was our game right here. So, all right, Bullock, your thoughts on the big one?
Oh yeah, this is definitely a big one right here, and could affect seedings in the when it comes to these two teams. I mean, we know both of them are going to be in the playoffs, but the only question is where come playoff time. But yeah, the Chargers, of course, were dealt a blow. Of course, Melvin Gordon. Yeah, the Chargers are going to be tested, of course, with no Melvin Gordon. He's basically going to miss about 1 to 3 games with a knee injury. I mean, and it's a shame. I mean, he has over 800 yards rushing with 9 touchdowns to go with 44 receptions for 453 yards and 4 touchdowns, and has been one of the keys to the offensive success of the Chargers this season. And that defense of the Chargers is definitely going to try to slow down Big Ben and that offense, of course, along with James Conner and Antonio Brown. But of course, Ben Roethlisberger is going to have to play better, especially after throwing a costly interception that really sealed the game. And the thing is, I mean, they're back at home in Heinz Field. I mean, and let's just say, I mean, the Steelers have done really well at home against the Chargers, 14-1. But of course, most of those games, of course, when they were of course, most of them were played a long time ago. And the one Chargers win, of course, came when they came to visit them in 2012. And they have met only once since then. And the Steelers won that 2015 game in San Diego. So, yeah, so I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this one. I'm going to say my final score, 31-24. Pittsburgh beats the Chargers, so nothing more to say. Flurry, what's yours?
The Bolts are 4-1 this season away from the StubHub Center, but Pittsburgh has one of the better rush defenses in the NFL, although it has struggled the past 2 games. The Chargers could have a tough time creating balance on offense with Melvin Gordon not available. Since 2014, the Chargers are 8-8 in games in the Eastern time zone. The Steelers believe they can pick off Phillip Rivers, and the offense believes it can dictate the pace on anyone as long as it cleans up turnovers. With Melvin Gordon out, the Steelers expect to stop the run and minimize the damage in the passing game. Ben Roethlisberger had a perfect passer rating in his most recent home game. Pittsburgh, 58.9% favorites. The winner of this game still has an outside shot at a first-round bye, while the loser likely would be out of the running, according to the FPI. The Steelers would have a 24% chance of a first-round bye with a win and 6% with a loss, while the Chargers would have a 13% chance with a win and 13% chance with a win and a 3% chance with a loss. I do agree with you, Bullock. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this one as well. I think it'll be a high-scoring game, just a smidge more than you. I got Pittsburgh winning it 31-28. 31-28, Pittsburgh Steelers over the LA Chargers in what I consider the game of the week. I think it'll be a 5-star classic, chock full of Shakespearean drama. And all I can say is I cannot wait to see this one on Sunday night. It's going to be great. So, one last order of business here when it comes to the docket, and that is Monday Night Football on ESPN. A huge divisional game here out of the NFC East. The Washington Redskins squaring off against the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Monday Night Football on ESPN, you know who's working that. Joe Tessitore, Jason Witten, Booger McFarland, Lisa Salters. Eagles opening up as 6 to 7 point favorites. First of 2 divisional meetings between these NFC East rivals. And the series history favors the Washington Redskins 85 to 75 with 5 ties. The Eagles swept the season series last year. They won at home against Washington 34-24. Redskins last won in Philly the year before, 2016. That was a 27-22 final for the Skins. So nothing more to say here. The Redskins have lost 3 of their past 4 games. They have not been playing well, but the big drop-off came in the running game with Adrian Peterson. But the Eagles have allowed an NFL worst 6.03 yards per carry in the past 6 weeks. And the Redskins have treated this almost like a bye week for Peterson, giving him extra rest in practice to fuel him for the stretch run. Plus, Chris Thompson is likely to return and can be a big help. Still, the Redskins are hard to trust on Monday nights, having lost 11 of 13, and there are still some health issues. If the injury question marks can play, the Redskins win, but for now, a toss-up game. Golden Tate said he felt more energy this week than any since being acquired at the trade deadline. After a rocky start to the season, the Eagles suddenly are fighting again for the NFC East. They have a chance to control this game at the line of scrimmage, especially on defense, which could make for tough sledding for Colt McCoy. Eagles, I do believe, yes, they are. They're 67.7% favorites. The game with the biggest impact on the playoff picture this week is on Monday night. The Redskins would have a 59% chance to make the playoffs with a win and a 22% chance with a loss, while the Eagles would have a 21% chance with a win and a 5% chance with a loss. But nonetheless, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. I'm going to say the final score. It'll be close, but I got Philly winning. I'm going to go 23-21 Philadelphia over Washington. Nothing more to say. Bullock, this to me, I consider this is the number 4 game of the week. We saw the number 3 game last night with New Orleans and Dallas. But this, I consider the number 4 game of the week. Washington and Philadelphia. You heard what I just said. No game has a bigger impact on the playoff race than this one does.
Oh, yeah, because the winner of this game is going to keep pace in the NFC East, especially now after Dallas won last night. I mean, yeah, it's a bigger game for the Redskins. I mean, especially now that we already know, of course, Alex Smith is done for the season with that leg injury, and Colt McCoy is taking the helm, and Philadelphia, of course, getting a big win over the Giants. So yeah, this to me, I gotta go with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this one. I'm gonna say my final score is gonna be 31 to 20. It's gonna be my final score. So nothing else to say except it's power rankings time.
Yes, indeed. And don't worry about it, Bullock. You you can sit out here because I know you're going to agree with me on pretty much all of it. So yeah, NFL power rankings time, and you know, definitely definitely there'll be some shakeups here, without a doubt. I mean, just waiting for my spreadsheet to load here. So power rankings. Okay, here we go. Just waiting for it to load. Okay. All right. So I think I have this pretty much figured out here. So let's start it off with all right. Started off here with the number with the number 10 here. Um, all right. I have I have the Baltimore Ravens as my number 10, and yep, Baltimore Ravens. It's actually the same as last week. I got the Baltimore Ravens and the Seattle Seahawks with um, with the co-number 10s. Ravens, Lamar Jackson 2-0, which would mean he stays in as the starter. And Seattle, with that big win in Carolina, they have the look of a playoff team after winning at Carolina Sunday. Russell Wilson has been outstanding in the fourth quarter. So Baltimore and Seattle coming in at number 10. Number 9, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, Minnesota Vikings coming at number 9. The defense is starting to look like the unit we expected to see, but the injury to Xavier Rhodes hurts. No doubt about that. Number 8. This is a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to do it. It's not often I have more than one tie, but I got to do 2 ties here. I got to go with the Indianapolis Colts and the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, first place after 3 straight victories. Remember, this dates back to last week. And, of course, we know what happened last night. They took care of business against the Saints. And my other number 8 is the Indianapolis Colts. 5 straight victories. They're in the thick of the playoff race. And Jacksonville, you're going to be in big trouble, without a doubt. So, nothing more to say there. Let me see. Where am I? Number 7. Yeah, I got Indy and Dallas as my co-number 8s. Number 7, I gotta go with the. I'm gonna keep the LA Chargers here. I mean, they bounced back nicely this past week from their loss, so we could go at home against Denver. They pounded Arizona, but they now face a tough road game against Pittsburgh, as we all know. So, actually, no. Back that up. I actually have the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 7. They face a tough turnaround after losing to the Broncos with the Chargers coming to town. So Pittsburgh is number 7. Chargers come in at number 6, bouncing back nicely this week from their loss a week ago. So nothing more to say there. I have now I got the Chicago Bears coming in at number. Actually, I have another tie. I have 3 ties in this. New England Patriots back in the power rankings, as well as the Chicago Bears. New England, or I should say Chicago's defense is for real. Can it carry them to a Super Bowl in a season full of offense for the NFL? We'll see. New England comes in as my other number 5. They came off their bye with a nice road victory against the Jets. They had to be thrilled to get production from Gronk again. Coming in at number 4, I have the Houston Texans. They are as hot as any team in the league right now. The offense is really improving and the schedule is soft. Could a first round bye be coming? It could. Top 3 stays the same. Kansas City Chiefs come in at number 3. They come off their bye needing to tighten up the defense some. Patrick Mahomes should have a field day this week against the Raiders. Los Angeles Rams come in at number 2. They come off their bye with a road game at Detroit. The defense needs to be better down the stretch. And remember, keep in mind, this is dating back to last week. For this will be the last time the New Orleans Saints will be the number 1. Going into that game last night, they were clearly the best team in the league, but they not only faced a tough game at Dallas last night, but they lost that game. So that's all I can say there. So that'll do it for this edition of NFL Friday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. So Michael Bullock, come on back in. Let's get you a quick shout out here, and then we'll call it a night.
Yeah, and of course, shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows. Of course, to all of our super fans out there, you guys know who you are. To all of our friends from high school days, you guys know who you guys are. To all of our local personalities from 6, 10, and 12. All the personalities from ESPN, Fox Sports, NFL Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, MLB Network, and all the other networks out there. Of course, our friends from the Road Show. Of course, the former co-hosts, Mary Larson and Megan Mooney. And of course, to Will, Brendan, and Michaela. So, yeah, so that's pretty much going to do it for me. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, this is Mike Bullock saying thank you all very much for being. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune Force Nile. Bye for now, my friends, and enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the college football and NFL action. So, Florida, take us home.
Yes, indeed, Bullock. Special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Special shout outs to Didi Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family. Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonball, Daniel Luttrell from the UK. Our insiders, and of course our first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. The crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Albert Edison, Rob Parsons, who just celebrated a birthday the other day. So happy birthday, Rob. Hope you had a blessed day, my friend. And of course, special shout out, of course, to good old MF Michael Fletcher, who couldn't join us tonight, obviously due to work commitments beyond his control. And of course, the man himself, Derek Ferrera, who puts this all together every week. All of our personalities over at 6, 10, and 12. Over and our friends over at ESPN, FS1, NFL Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, MLB Network, whole 9 yards. Lindsey McCormick, Stata Sorrell, our friends on the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, the former co-host Megan Mooney, Mary Larson, and last but not least, a very special shout out, as always, to my wonderful friends and church family over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning at 9, Bible study a little after 10, right around 10:30, Sunday morning service. And then Wednesday night, Bible study, 7 o'clock, so other things going on. So looking forward to seeing them all on Sunday, as always. And that's it for that. Of course, like Bullock mentioned, Monday night, immediately following Monday Night Raw, we have Ridiculously Raw. Good gravy, Marie. I am praying that this ends up being a much better show than that god awful dumpster fire show we had on Monday night. And Bullock, lucky you weren't there to endure it.
But I'll tell you this: as long as Baron Corbin runs the show, get used to it, Florio.
Yeah, unfortunately. So,
and if he becomes the permanent general manager, oh geez,
Louise, yeah,
it's gonna be an absolute nightmare for you.
It's gonna be WCW 2000 bad. That's all I know.
Yeah, if Baron Corbin becomes the permanent general manager, we riot, and not in a good way.
It'll be worse than when Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo ran WCW Monday Nitro into the ground in the year 2000.
Gosh,
it'll be far worse than that. So, but anyways, Monday Night Ridiculously Raw, good show or not. Myself, Bullock, if Bullock can make it, MF, D.D. Woodson, after Raw Monday night, we'll review Monday Night Raw. Hopefully there will not be any rants, although with my luck there probably will be. And then, of course, I'll have my latest thoughts on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And then Tuesday night, the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on Brace Fan 95. We'll run down SmackDown Live. We'll see if anything comes up in the Mikey's mindset. And then next Friday night, of course, Week 14. We'll get into Week 14 of NFL Friday and looking at the docket for next week. I see a few standout games here. Of course, I probably would say the game of the week next week, the Los Angeles Rams squaring off against the Chicago Bears. Oh my goodness, is that going to be a fun one? Indianapolis against Houston in a huge AFC South matchup. Baltimore Ravens against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Patriots against the Dolphins. That should be a good one. And the Eagles and the Cowboys. Big NFC East matchup there. And then a solid Monday night matchup with the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks. So some more big games to get into next week here on NFL Friday. So that's pretty much it. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, D.D. Woodson, and Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Vote up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy all the college football championship week action as well later today on this Saturday, and then of course all the NFL action on Sunday. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching Week 13 of Strictly Sports NFL Friday right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.